Hello, hi, welcome, and thank you for being here today. I hope you're having a gorgeous day or night. Let's get you some clarity. Today's reading might not be for everybody. We're gonna take a look at what your person is thinking and feeling, currently going through, and get some messages from their higher self to be helpful for you. It's timeless and collective. Whenever it finds you, it's perfect. See what resonates and always follow and trust the divine connection inside of you to your higher self, to God, to source, to the universe, because the answer is always in you. And try to make balanced decisions between logic and intuition, so your decisions are sound, they're based in love, and for the highest and greatest good of everybody. So we're all uplifted in love. Let's go right into the heart's hidden secrets and see what the current energy is of your person. Let's see what God, source, Holy Spirit, Christ consciousness, our higher selves, angels, and energies of love have for the highest, greatest good of all. What is the current situation that your person is going through, that they're seeing something more clearly than they did in the past? Maybe they're looking at something through the energy of nostalgia, thinking about memories or moments that they had with you. But there's definitely a box opening up in this picture. So if something was contained, or somebody was, only thinking of how something could unravel or unfold in a certain manner, in a certain time frame. If anything was really restricted, somebody is becoming a little more lenient, a little more flexible. Also, maybe some of you are connecting to a person that really does want to have a conversation of clarity with you, especially if that has not come through yet. They want to be honest with you. I feel like you've always been honest with them. I feel like they know your intentions have always been true. But maybe this person's intentions were one thing, but their actions were something else. Let's see. Why is clarity coming through? Maybe for some of you, this is you opening up a conversation of truth. Maybe for some of you, this is coming towards you. It's at least in this person's energy right now that that's what they want. Maybe it's even seeing maybe their own surroundings or other, relationships in their life, whether that's friends or family or co-workers, something like that. Maybe they're seeing something more clearly, especially if there was some wool over the eyes. That could also be something that opened up pretty fast. I actually hear a big reality check. Maybe somebody wasn't seeing something clearly before, and something sort of like a little snapshot snapped them out of it, and they're seeing something in a different light and a new perspective. Let's see, what else is going on with the collective's person right now that they want a new beginning. They want to try again. They want to do something right. They want it to be on a truthful, I actually hear vulnerable, but maybe transparent foundation. There could have also been something underneath the surface. So if these roots were just growing and you couldn't quite see all the growth that was happening, maybe this person has had a lot of growth since they've met you, whether right now you're together or apart. This is somebody who's seeing something clearly about a new direction. So if there's been distance between you and this person, for some of you, this is somebody who wants to shorten that distance, but it's somebody that wants to start over different. If you've had a couple of restarts, reunions, rekindlings, this one needs to be different, which means you have to do things different. You have to look at your own patterns and see what was repeating in you. So if there's a cycle, it's just not all on this person to do all the changing. You have to do some changing within as well. So somebody does want to start over, try again, come clean, follow through. And I feel like, I don't know why I just heard this. I just heard for some of you, this is a person that feels like their life didn't even begin. I mean, it did, but like really begin to really feel these feelings they've never felt before, a connection they've never had before until they met you. Maybe you've been a big inspiration to this person to have overall new beginnings in their life. yeah, there's something really fresh about your energy that they are really drawn to. So let's see. But I feel like this has triggered many new starts. So maybe this person, since they've met you, has changed careers or works in a different place, or has moved, changed the location of where they live, or got a new car, or started to dress different. Maybe started a project that they've always wanted to try or get back to. And until they had that conversation with you, they never, got back to the drawing board. So there is something that it's plural. It's not just a beginning, it's many. So maybe that's something that also happened for you too, since you met this particular person. Like, just take a quick note right now. What has changed in your life that, you were a part of, that you've done differently since this person has come into your life, or since you met each other? Because you're probably mirroring somebody, and there's probably a lot of changes in your life and this person's life, and probably many of them mirror each other, whether that's opposite or very similar. So let's see, what's another message or energy going on right now with the collective's person? They want a new beginning, but they're really exhausted. Maybe this is a new start that's been a long time coming. I also feel like I'm getting that, like, going through the motions. Look at the motion of the lights on the highway there. I feel like somebody felt like they were just kind of going through the motions before. Every day just kind of doing what they had to do, get up, go to work, get a sandwich at this time, take a break, go to the store every day, every week is kind of the same thing. And I feel like you kind of came in and, I don't know, I'm kind of seeing that you spiritually rub someone in the right way to almost force them out of something that was just the daily grind. Right now, though, this person does want a new beginning. Maybe they're holding off on a conversation because they're just depleted. They're running on empty. They're giving from an empty plate. I also feel like maybe this was an exhausting back and forth for some of you. Maybe it's been a long cycle with this particular person. And I feel like if some of you have a new beginning and your person is rather fresh in your life right now, I still feel like this person had a long journey before they got to you. So maybe this is also taking a break, giving somebody a chance to rest. I heard reconsider their options, or reconsider the direction they were going, especially if somebody was on the road for a very long time, but going in the wrong direction. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. Like, you got the GPS wrong, or, you think you're taking a shortcut and you don't realize that you've been going like 40 miles down the highway totally in the wrong direction. And now it's way farther to get back to at least the crossroads, or maybe the destination you intended to. I do feel like this person didn't recognize they were going the wrong direction. It could also be that somebody is drained or depleted because there's a lot going on in their life in general, maybe at this person's job or in their family. It could also be draining energies. So take note for you, and to know about this person. What energies, situations, environments, groups, activities, like, don't leave you, not where you go to the gym and you get that, like, endorphin kind of rush and you're kind of tired, but you're still kind of like amped up, plugged in. It's not that. It's where you actually feel worse when you leave a certain person or a certain group, and you feel like just even not doing anything, just sitting there listening to everybody's drama or chaos or whatnot is draining. There could also be kind of like, that energy vampire kind of thing coming through, where somebody just is very needy or feeds off of somebody's light, and that could be draining, especially if this person has this kind, open heart, because I see somebody here with an open heart, somebody that wants to do the best, that wants to make the right decisions. But if this person is a giver and they're around anybody who's a taker, that can be draining, and somebody has to recognize if something is being received with graciousness and thankfulness, or if it's just being received because it's more entitlement. I feel like along this journey, this person has learned quite a bit. Whether it's a long journey to get to you, or, you know, they filled up their gas tank because you were at this amazing oasis on the side of the highway, and I'm kind of like, you revved them up, you got them excited, but maybe somebody got back on that highway and forgot where that oasis was. Also, if you are the one feeling drained because somebody always wants to come to your oasis and fill her up, but never really stays that long, or it's kind of like it's amazing when it's there, but then what's going on when there's distance? What's going on in their journey? I feel like you want to be like a co-pilot, or you want to go on a, you know, a ride with them. If somebody's always just going away and doing something alone, and then you're just kind of left there in their beautiful oasis or a spiritual gas station here, but you never know when somebody's going to arrive, maybe that's exhausting to you. Maybe that's where a clarity conversation would be beneficial to get you both on the same page. Let's see, let's get one more. What is one more message on clarity, beginnings, and exhaustion? I am seeing for some of you, somebody might, if there's distance for some of you, somebody might be working extra hard, whether that's that they're going to the gym, or they're working on a project, or they're, you know, fixing up the house. They could be doing a lot of working or filling in the gaps because they're trying to not think about you, or maybe they're making changes, but they could also avoid changes, thinking that filling in those spaces will, especially if somebody is avoiding you, or avoiding clarity, or avoiding something, avoiding a new beginning, then it's almost like they feel like they can procrastinate or delay something until they feel ready. But it's almost like the more they're doing all this extra stuff, the more unready they feel for some of you. And I feel like somebody doesn't want to wait anymore. I feel like there's maybe somebody that always wants it to be the perfect time. Maybe this is somebody who likes a sense of control, but I do feel like they're learning a lot on the more they let go and the more they release and just allow and trust themselves on the step that they are in or on, the easier something to flow. So let's get one more. I'll show you these. What's one more message to help clarify what the collective's person is currently going through? Please and thank you. I hope that went back. What is one final message to be helpful today? Oh, maybe I kind of think that's why somebody is doing a lot of work, trying to avoid pain. It could also be that somebody is afraid to feel a lot, because to lose someone you love, to really be vulnerable, be transparent, and dive deep into something, you know, the bigger you love, the harder it would hurt if it goes away. Whereas if somebody's just kind of doing something on, I'll show you that, doing something on surface level, if something's just kind of shallow, if that goes away, it doesn't hurt so much. So maybe somebody was acting kind of shallow to you. I do feel like that was protection on their part, maybe even for some of you trying to protect you. But if somebody was just sort of being cautious with you, or they were apprehensive, they weren't sure, you know, they're sticking a toe in, but they're not really doing the full on dive into a situation, dive into that new beginning, fill up the gas tank all the way up, get that battery full. It's like somebody, even with this exhaustion energy, was only like putting $10 of spiritual gas in at a time, instead of just fill it up, high test, you know, give me the good stuff. It's going to be a long journey ahead. You want to be ready. You want to be prepared. There's definitely somebody that could be looking back at painful situations in their life. And maybe out of protection, you know, they're nervous. It could also be where somebody never really allowed them to be in a situation that was meaningful, because they saw pain around them. Reminiscing. I did see that nostalgia energy here at the beginning with the camera. So maybe somebody is right now reminiscing about the times that you had together, all the times you began something, or how they want to try something different with you now. I feel like somebody is recreating memories. So if there was maybe a weird argument, somebody is thinking about how they could have said something different or could have handled a reaction differently. I also feel like some of you have somebody who's recognizing they were very much thinking about the past. Hold on one second. I think someone's here. It was my sister and my neighbor. So I do feel like some of you might not know this right now, but I feel like there is somebody also reflecting with a lot of clarity about the pain that they caused you. Because I do feel like for some of you, you maybe suffered in silence, but I feel like they knew your energy, like they could feel it even if they didn't see you crying. For some of you, maybe they saw you cry. Maybe that was even hard for somebody to handle, especially if they had love for you and they didn't want to hurt you. It could be why somebody also was, I'm getting just that they were filling in the gaps. Maybe they didn't want to have a conversation about how painful a separation was. And that doesn't have to be you. That could even be about a past situation. If somebody's in this memory here, in this nostalgia, I do feel like they're starting to look towards the beginnings, starting to see something more clearly and starting to have, I'm getting like hope restored. So for some of you, maybe it's even bittersweet. You know, nostalgia is kind of weird. Sometimes you remember something or someone in a totally different light than it actually happened because of pain you felt, or you know, maybe somebody always remembers all these happy moments, but then not really wanting to focus on the pain. Or there could be somebody that's always focused on the pain and forgetting some happy moments. I looked at that 1717. That is like the star times 2. So I do feel like there's healing coming in. But let's really get some raw messages. I have the Hidden Truth Oracle. So let's get some very specific messages that your person would like you to know to be helpful. What is it that the collective's person would like them to know? Please and thank you. What are some messages of how they're really feeling and thinking about the collective? You got a bunch. Okay, let's see. So for some of you, this is somebody who is not available right now. Maybe they're doing some healing. They're exhausted by a lot of changes happening in their life. They're gaining more clarity and they're trying to figure something out on their own. Also, if somebody actually does say, hey, I'm not available, or they don't respond to you, and you feel any, I don't know, energy that you need to know, I feel like you need to release your energy attachment to someone, because maybe that available thing isn't necessarily that they're with somebody else. Maybe they're just busy, or they're just tired. They're figuring something out. I do feel like the more space you allow someone, the more grace, the faster somebody will come around or figure something out, because I feel like for some of you, somebody has to figure something out on their own. They definitely are attracted to you. That attraction has not gone away. I do feel like as if you haven't seen somebody for a while, or whenever you end up at that oasis together, that attraction comes right back. I'm also seeing that maybe for some of you, this could be a person that generally started a relationship and expected at some point the attraction to just kind of go away, and maybe it always did. I don't feel like it did with you. Maybe that's why your dynamic is different. Somebody recognizes that you brought a spiritual lesson into their life. Maybe you even opened them up to spirituality or listening to their intuition. Somebody understands that there's a lesson they learned, either because of your inspiration or because of your connection. I'm getting even just because of who you are. And they feel gratitude towards you. They're grateful they met you. They're grateful that they know you. They're grateful that you play a role in their life. And it looks like some of you have somebody that doesn't want that story to end. So I'm grateful for the spiritual lesson. I am so attracted to you. I am not available. And right now you might not see that this person is maybe not as put together as they appear. Maybe they put on a very strong front, or, you know, they seem like they're really organized. They got, you know, all their ducks in a row. They have their 5-year plan, all this, but there's something that is changing. And I feel like whatever their plan was, I feel like it's crumbled or gone out the window, or it's being changed. And I feel like maybe that's why somebody is also stressed out. Because if somebody is telling you right now their life is not as put together as it seems to be, this could be somebody, you know, via social media or whatever, puts pictures up, or I'm even getting like quotes or videos or something like that to show, you know, how much they've learned. But I feel like this person is still in a learning process, in a growing phase. I also feel like for some of you, this is somebody that wants to be perfect. You can't be perfect. Like, they want to have everything ready to go to maybe have this brand new beginning with you, or really start to build. And I feel like it's more about building something together, figuring it out as you go, than somebody getting everything perfect and then you come in. Because that's that energy, like, oh, well, when you do this and then that person comes, then you'll be happy. It's always then you will, then you can do that, then it will happen, instead of somebody actually being in the energy of out of future focusedness and out of the past nostalgia, and being in the now, because the now is really all that you have. So maybe that's even part of this spiritual lesson that this person is learning about, is that now is the time you have. So if it's about making memories today, maybe this person is figuring out they don't want to just keep putting something on hold. So let's go to the other deck. I used to have these two put together, but I found that the thickness of the cards was different, and they didn't really flip so well. So let's go to the love truth and get a couple of extra messages for you guys. What are some extra messages on I'm not available? For some of you, maybe this person is just not available. Maybe they are with somebody else right now. I kind of feel like if they are with somebody else right now, I will say with the energies here, they're still thinking about you. Whoever they are with, even if it felt like a new fresh beginning, it ran out of gas pretty fast. Because I feel like there's this, I feel like for some of you, even if this person chose somebody else or went back to somebody or something like that, it's almost like they're suffering this pain silently because they're recognizing that they really miss you. So let's see what other messages would be helpful to know about from, I think this is just called the love truth. What are some extra messages to be helpful for the collective right now? Please and thank you. I know I've been distracting you. Maybe somebody recognizes that you have something you are supposed to be doing or working on. This is somebody who's, it's a little bit of a martyr kind of energy. It's like somebody's not wanting to maybe focus on themselves. So like, I know I've been distracting you. I know I'm bothering you, or I know I shouldn't have done that, but I don't feel like they are actually distracting you. I feel like even if you're being distracted by this person, you feel kind of grateful that you got to be distracted by them, because I feel like you enjoy their energy. Maybe this person is almost saying they feel like they're wasting your time. If this person doesn't have that much, if they're lacking in confidence anywhere, I'm kind of getting that maybe they feel you're too good for them and that you could have better, and yet all this person can do is think about how much better they would be with you, or how many beautiful changes would happen if they were with you. So maybe this person has to value themselves, really believe that if you think that they're good enough for you, and you know, you really believe in them, then this person has to also believe in themselves, believe in the two of you. So what else? It's kind of a weird message. What else would be helpful to know? It feels like I know I've been distracting you. It just feels like an excuse. It's sort of what I get. Maybe this person had a lot of excuses in the past. I actually hear that maybe you excuse them a little too much. Maybe they, for some of you, did something that's inexcusable. Maybe that's why somebody knows they have to have a truthful conversation. Ooh, let's see. What else? Is there anything else from this deck that would be helpful? The person's, the collective's person's, like a tongue twister, higher self wants them to know. What are they thinking, what they are feeling about the collective right now? We are not suited for each other. This is somebody, that's exactly what I just said. This is somebody who feels like, oh, you know, you're not their type, or they're not good enough for you, or, you know, something never worked out. Maybe for some of you, this is just somebody that actually doesn't believe that you are their person. That's really hard if you think that they are yours. But I kind of feel like both of these are just excuses. Somebody's trying to come up with excuses because it's kind of masking the pain that they're actually feeling. Like they tell themselves like, oh no, we're not suited. We're just not suited for each other. Now, if that's actually how somebody feels and they don't feel like, you know, they're not available, they might be attracted to you, but maybe some of you have had an exhausting, you know, romance story, or like Lady Gaga, maybe it was more like a bad romance for some of you. And maybe this person has to be clear to say, like, I don't think we're cut out for each other. Maybe this person has a lot of lessons to learn first before a new beginning can occur. But I feel like for most of you, I'm getting this as just kind of an excuse. It's kind of like a cover up. It feels like a Band-Aid. Life is not together as it seems. We are not suited for each other. Let's see, what else? Now just bear with me. When I get messages for love readings, there's many different people that have many different complicated situations going on. So if it doesn't feel like your message, it's for somebody else. You know, just let it go to where it needs to go to be helpful. I wish, well, isn't that the truth now? I wish I could have treated you better before, but why didn't they? And if they're having memories now of what they didn't do right, or how they didn't come correct, or how they always made excuses, or maybe they even acted on pure attraction and chemistry, but never got into that deep vulnerability and spiritual side of what love could be, then maybe they did act, you know, in their normal manner, or how they typically handle a person or typically handle a situation. I do feel like somebody recognizes they should have done it differently with you, because I feel like you did it differently with them. I feel like you gave them a different viewpoint on what a partnership could be, or what potential it could be, because of who you are. And I feel like maybe somebody handled you like they treated everyone else, or maybe how they've been handled in the past. And I don't want to give this person now an excuse, but I do feel like for some of you, they didn't know any better. They just didn't see something deeply. They didn't have a living example of, you know, a different kind of partnership or energy, or somebody like you. So not that this person needs an excuse, because everyone does need to learn their lessons, but it does look like somebody's at least having some clear self-reflection about their past here, probably on how they maybe made a situation more painful than it had to be. Instead of just addressing, you know, something at the root cause, or having a clear conversation, maybe they always kind of, you know, went sideways, or left something out, or stopped something before it began, and even maybe self-sabotaged something that was beautiful. I wish I could have treated you better. I feel like if they're coming through now, they want to. They want to do something different, but if this person's had growth or not, let's see. Let's keep going. Actually, speaking of growth, I did bring this. So this is the repair, evolution, and growth. Let's see what this person is growing, what they're learning, what a big soul lesson is that they are going through right now. Try again, new direction. Let's see. What is the growth lesson of the collective's person? And if this doesn't make sense to their situation, this could also be a message for you. It could be the growth that happened because of this partnership. Stuck energy. So somebody that needs to change their vibration, they need to go a different direction and refocus from the fear, from the pain, to the possibility and the potential and the vibration of love and joy and happiness. And those moments that you get to have are worth everything. This is somebody who maybe was stuck in a karmic cycle. I do feel like that is many of you. Many of you have somebody you're connected to and they are stuck in a karmic cycle. Maybe that's why you inspired them with a spiritual lesson. Maybe some of you get in a cycle, not that you don't mess up, everybody messes up, but you sort of get back up. You brush yourself off and you try to make yourself better. You have self-awareness of what you did or did not do, the role you played, you know, how you could have handled something different, and you make changes that get you to move along and out of an old cycle. If this is somebody that is just stuck, they're not doing something different. It's like they're running around in circles or chasing their own tail. They're in like a loop-de-loop kind of pattern that doesn't ever get them anywhere. It's not really even getting them down the road. It's like maybe they're going down the road, but they're still going in circles. So for somebody with stuck energy, that can be caused by holding on to pain or having resistance to let new energy flow in. It wants to come. This new energy wants to come on in, but somebody has to, maybe I'm just getting be more flexible. If somebody is really looking at their past, all the memories they made, the plans that they have to follow through with, but they're keeping one foot in that past cycle, even if it's just 1 foot. Somebody has to, I'm kind of getting just really go into unknown territory, but I kind of feel like most of that unknown territory is within oneself, within this person's, like, maybe facing some shadows or some aspects of their character, or I'm even getting just their habits that became so regular they didn't even recognize it was maybe becoming a bad habit. What is that? The bad, I think I just thought of the song. I think it's that song Bad Liar. Is that, why can't I think of her name? I actually really like that song, but I can't hear it. I just know it has a really interesting beat to it. So get grounded and reconnect to your body once again. So that seems to be the key point here. If somebody's stuck and they're maybe even doing anything where, even if it's substances or something like that, and that's getting somebody stuck. Somebody could be, I'm even getting stuck on a routine. I actually see somebody trying to get back in their body. Maybe they're going to the gym, but then just think of going to the gym, going on the treadmill, exactly this amount of incline, and you do it 20 minutes every day. Maybe the first week you had some results, and your body gets used to something really fast. In order to have that change, to have that growth, to see results, you have to switch something up. So maybe it is, you know, if I am seeing somebody kind of at the gym, you know, it's switching it up. You're doing some, like, you know, the what is that? The hit, the high, low, you know, interval, do something different. And then your body doesn't quite know what's going to come, and you always have results. But somebody has to be willing to do something different, not be so set in a routine here. I do feel like this is somebody who likes routine. because it gives them more control. They feel like they know what's coming. They know exactly what's going to happen. And to not know that, unknown, uncharted territory, maybe that is you, makes somebody a little nervous. I feel like somebody might have to get a little more comfortable with spontaneity or something not working out according to plan. So be it. So how do you make it that Bob Ross tree? Make it a happy tree. Make a mistake a blessing. Let new energy in. For some of you, this is you also maybe having a beginning. If you are very much stuck on a certain person, and that is, a painful situation, maybe there's attraction there, but it's always distracting you away from maybe something that you clearly always wanted to try or put your energy into. And maybe this is coming through for you, so you unstick yourself from overly focused or overly, energetically hinged to a certain person. Give them some space. It'll work out or it won't, but put that energy back into you right now. Put that energy into you. What makes you happy? What makes you curious? Filling up your own cup here. And I do feel like you have to also pay attention to how your body feels energetically around a certain person, or even with something you're working on. Because even if you're working really hard, but you're working on a project that you really love, even if you're tired and you fall asleep like a baby exhausted at the end of the night, it still plugs you in because you have that energy of enjoyment, gets you excited. So you don't mind working so hard because you're into it. So if there's anything in your life and you're not really into it, you're just kind of going through the motions, it doesn't really bring you that energy of, yes, I get to do that today. You're like, oh, here we go again. Can't believe I'm here. Then maybe you need to, even if that's something that sustains you, that's your job, that's your routine that keeps you feeling like you're stable. Maybe you switch up your routine. Give yourself something fun to do on the weekend, maybe even, I feel like some of you have a friend that's wanted to go out with you for a while and you keep telling them no. I feel like maybe you need to call that friend up. I also feel like there could be a new person coming in. You have a new energy, whether that's somebody that starts as a friend, maybe becomes a lover, or maybe just starts as an acquaintance and becomes your bestie. Maybe some of you even need to go out with your bestie if you haven't had time with that person in a while, especially if that person always, I am getting that they kind of can get you off of the couch, or you kind of have like cool ideas back and forth together. I do feel like there's a person that does believe in you. So let's continue. Let's actually do this. I might have to pause this though, because let me show you, let me show you this book. So I had the bear that went in the creek, and I thought of these spirit animal cards, but my book is a big old mess-a-roo. Talk about where's that thing? Life is not as together as it seems. Well, I am showing you this. Sometimes I'm a big old Virgo mess. Even if I like to be organized, I'm sometimes I don't know why, maybe it's a Virgo energy. Sometimes it's that person that actually knows where everything is in the chaos. And sometimes if there is a lot of chaos around, maybe that is even creating this stuck energy. Maybe something needs to flow better by, I am getting like reorganizing something. If you want to do a project, but you're always sidetracked by the dishes or, the bills shoved in the drawer, that, messy corner in front of you, sometimes just clearing up that space helps you clear up that inner space as well. So we're going to get we're going to pull a card on your person right now to see what their energy, their spirit animal is, but this could very well be yours as well. So what is a spirit animal right now to clarify the collective's person or their energy? You got a hawk. What a beautiful animal. Maybe somebody is watching someone very closely. That could be somebody outside of your person watching them. Somebody could be watching you like a hawk. I just heard eye on the prize, or eye considering the long game, which is interesting because somebody over there was stuck in the past. 37. What a beautiful bird. All right, let me pause you. I'm going to find this. We're going to read it, and then we'll go to the tarot. I pause that exactly at 40. So the 4 is stability. It's a solid foundation. Maybe this is an emperor energy, or you're thinking about an emperor, or this is stepping into your emperor energy, your divine masculine. Interesting. It actually says to free yourself. Free yourself from anything that's depleting you or exhausting you, anything that's keeping you stuck. But I feel like this is what somebody is definitely learning, to free yourself from limitations, from putting, you know, the cap on a situation, the lid on the box. Why keep something so contained when it can be so, I just heard invigorating, you know, so much more expansive. In its majestic flight, the hawk symbolizes vision. What's your first message that came through? Vision, freedom, and heightened spiritual awareness. I absolutely feel like that's something that you have triggered and inspired in a certain person. I feel like I actually get that they were kind of intuitive, but maybe they overanalyze something, because I'm thinking of like the Virgo energy. You know, perfectionism comes into play there, or wanting something to always, you know, really be perfect as it can be, but it's learning that imperfections are even more beautiful. So I feel like somebody is learning to trust their intuition, their higher self more here. It prompts us to seek, it prompts us to seek clarity in our life's journey, transcend ordinary constraints, liberate ourselves from limitations, and have faith in our inner wisdom. That's it. I feel like maybe somebody always went by the rule book, or the limitations of what society or their family or their, you know, co-workers always put on them, their, you know, past partnerships, or you know, friends that they used to have. There's a bug here. And I feel like somebody is now seeing that it doesn't have to be so set in stone. This freedom comes with more growth. But I feel like this is beyond potential. So maybe somebody had all this potential before, but until they take action, they spread their wings and they take that leap of faith. They didn't know they could fly. So let's fly on into the tarot. I kind of want to go with the big deck here. So let's do at least one from this, and maybe we'll clarify it with a different tarot. So what is the biggest message coming through to be helpful today? Please and thank you. What is the biggest energy and movement besides this freedom? I just heard trusting their heart, or maybe you trusting your heart. Oh, well, that's, what is this? You have 2. This is the change. It's going from this energy of luxury, superficiality, boredom, complacency. Wah, wah. That's always the energy I get. It's the wah, wah energy. It's like there's nothing really exciting. Maybe there's not even anything really bad. It's just vanilla. It's just that, you know, on the 20 minutes on the treadmill, same thing every day. I feel it's interesting here because the 4 of Cups, or the 4 of Cups, I like how it's called luxury here. It does look like, this looks like a lotus / bee. And there is this light coming down on this fountain, and it's shining a light it's both going down and up. It's kind of interesting because if you look at these cups here, they're shining a light up, and yet it's this lotus bee thing. It's shining a light down and it's meeting somewhere in the middle. But you have to look at what's going on under the surface. Maybe there's something that was kind of entangled or something that had to be untwisted. This is usually where in the other deck, the guy is like sitting outside and he's underneath the tree and God's like, oh, you said you were bored? Here, take a sip of this. It's going to change everything up. It's going to really warm your heart. It's going to really, you know, open up all these possibilities of love in your life. And somebody's just not open. They're not open or receptive. Their arms all crossed and they're like, I don't know. They're just looking at what's in front of them. And yet that's not bringing them satisfaction. It's maybe stability because it's the 4 here, but it's not really stable because they're not really in where they are. It's where somebody is one place and they're either dreaming about being somewhere else, or they forgot about those dreams altogether, or they gave up on something and just accepted. I feel like somebody doesn't want to, like maybe somebody even had the light turned off. They do look like trophies though. It's like somebody was, all of these kind of look like trophies. Maybe somebody was more worried about having the trophy than the actual experience of that light or that illumination. Upside down, it's somebody that's like, yes, thank you for that amazing offer from Spirit. I will take a sip of that. Maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't, but at least I'm going to try something a little different today. And it looks like if somebody is trying something different, it's taking them towards this satiety, this happiness. This is the happily ever after, beyond the wish come true. But recognizing that this happily ever after energy is like this tree of life here in the background. Life has many different chapters. Not all rainbows and butterflies. Sometimes they're boring and dry and they're vanilla. Sometimes they're painful and weird. And you feel like, you know, you're exhausted by trying to constantly come out of the black hole or going through a cycle of pain. But all of those cycles are part of your story, your book. So I feel like this is what somebody desires. This is how somebody's feeling about you. I feel like this is where they're at now, or this is what they need to recalibrate, refocus on changing. But to change that, somebody has to say yes. Somebody has to want to have an experience with something different. Here, it could also be, if it's upside down, that somebody had these big dreams and they just didn't turn out to be all that happily ever after energy. It could be where somebody had these dreams and these aspirations, these plans, but then if it never had that spiritual light behind it and it was just superficial, trophies, shallow, you know, because you can have somebody around you or be in a relationship, but if it doesn't ever really tap into all the aspects and facets of who you are and how you're supposed to grow throughout your life, then it's stagnancy. So it could be where somebody has to release the fact that maybe something they thought would be a certain way isn't. But it's recognizing that this is what Spirit wants you to have. Everybody deserves this. To have a happy energy, to know that even at its worst, it's still a blessing to get to be here. There's also a lot of lower chakra energies in this card. So maybe somebody is learning to recognize their roots. You know, it doesn't have to just be about survival. I'm getting that it's beyond that. There's something where this is like the gift to life, to get to do things that bring you this energy of positive light, high vibration, and deep love in everything you do, in every connection that you get to make, you know, in every person that you get to touch. You have the King of Swords at the bottom. This could be who you're dealing with, or this could be what somebody is learning more about themselves. The King of Swords is, I saw that it's interesting because I did see the overthinker. That can also happen in air signs. The King of Swords, or the Prince of Swords, absolutely is somebody who likes to have clear conversation. They like to be sharp and open in their mindset. But if this king, look at what he's holding. He's the only one that has a chariot carried by little men. interesting because these little men that are supposed to be pulling his chariot forward are like laying down and complacent. They look like they're lazy. They look like they're like, I don't think I want to go and pull your chariot anymore. So this could be a king that's around people that don't really help out, or don't really, maybe they expect something to happen. It could also be that these energies have put a stop to this connection because they don't want to work with this king. But this king looks like he's drawing that sword. He's ready to swing, and he's ready to cut those strings of whatever was stalling his beautiful chariot to move. He's like, all right, you don't want to work here? You don't want to, you know, the clarity card sticking to me. Then he's not afraid to have a conversation of truth, to cut strings of attachment that aren't moving him forward on his journey. You know, if they are energies trying to hold back his forward progress or movement, especially if it's moving towards this ultimate happiness here, then I feel like that king has gotten a little bit bored with something not panning out or working out. But the panning out, I did just see of the bigger picture of a situation. Maybe he was overly focused. The King of Swords can be tunnel vision. He can be overly focused on one thing in particular and missing out on something else going on the side. It could also be where he's always looking at the bigger picture, but never has that focus on something that needs to be attended to that would make all of the difference. And usually it has to do with conversing or conversation, mental stimulation. You know, this is somebody who has a lot of ideas, but if they're only in his head, what good are those ideas? You know, what good is that conversation if you talk about an amazing experience you want to have and you never make the phone call to book the ticket or have that experience? So I do feel like there's action being taken here with this particular king, because he's ready to draw that sword. He's ready to maybe even offer that sword of truth to you, to explain why he had all of these strings and people around him. Maybe that has to do with the exhaustion. There's also, he's green. So there is something about this King of Swords. Also, of all the kings here, I've never noticed how muscly he is. So maybe this is somebody who does like to appear strong on the outside, but maybe he's kind of a softy inside, because the green energy is the heart chakra. It also always reminds me of, set that weird bug, yep. Organic nature, like Mother Nature. And maybe even the solar plexus energy. I feel like movement is ready, like ripe and ready to come, but something has to be cut out first. Something does have to change. And I feel like maybe that starts with, I just heard the truth will set you free. If he's upside down, he's just cold. He doesn't ever let his heart lead the way. You know, it's always the plans, the rules, the way it has to be done. And then he's always going to feel like he's being pulled in a different direction, especially if any of that direction has anything to do with what he believes everybody else wants on him, like what society has said. Because if he's always trying to people please, or, you know, think about what others are thinking, because he's thinking a lot and he's so worried, especially if anyone's, you know, what they're thinking about him, how will he be perceived? Then what's more important is how he perceives himself, that there is a connection to the head and the heart. Otherwise, he's going to always feel a little empty, or like these, you know, leashes tied to people here are always kind of constraining him, or he has to like force something to finally move. I feel like he's gaining more clarity on what he needs to do to make more moves for his or her own direction. And I feel like that is a different direction than he was doing before. I just see like a new map, new territory. I heard something is just around the corner. Maybe there's a big change that's going to happen just around the corner. Let's just clarify with the Starkist Tarot. The Prince of Swords, which in this deck is the King. The Four of Cups, which here is luxury. You know, luxury is amazing. It's beautiful. But what good is luxury if you're not actually enjoying it? It's like having that, I get that. I haven't had that example in a while. It's like having the, you know, the big fancy boat in the garage, but then you never take it out to go fishing. So it could be the nicest boat with the, you know, I see details and the biggest, you know, motor or whatever, and you have, you have all the fancy things, but then if somebody's not enjoying it, what good is it? So let's clarify with this. Just what is a message to clarify the Prince of Swords, the Ten of Cups, and luxury? Interesting, because you do have that message that somebody's life isn't as put together as it seems. Maybe from the outside of that house, it looks like it's beautiful. Maybe there's beautiful, you know, a rose garden and, you know, it's landscaped and picture perfect. But look at what's going on. Can you see it? Look at what's going on inside. This person's house is a mess. This is either somebody's surroundings that's actually a mess, even if it appears to be put together. There's something messy here. There's too many elephants under the rug in a situation. This is also where somebody usually feels like they were left out in the cold. This could be somebody that feels like they've taken a financial dip or something happened in their life and maybe life did get messy. But if somebody was left out in the cold, there's always a place there where you get a gift to knock on that church door. If somebody doesn't answer at that door, you go and you ask at a different door. This is sometimes where somebody has to put down their pride and say, I need a little help. Sometimes it's also where somebody, I just heard God helps those who help themselves, has to actually change their actions in their physical world, because it's pentacles. They're people, places, things, their environment, anything in the what you can touch land. Something needs to change here in order for there to be external changes. So it's where you put your energy, your effort. This person just is looking outside the window, wishing they were out there, you know, where the yard looks beautiful, but not turning around and seeing what they can do to clean up that mess behind them. And if something is that messy of a situation, then maybe it is just going out in the yard, changing your surroundings, and letting something that it almost looks like this is it not, I don't feel like you can duct tape that situation. I do feel like a lot of things have to be thrown away here to just released, let go of. It looks like a bunch of trash. It just needs to get, you know, throw it away and leave that space for something new to come in. Hard misfortune, and upside down, it's recovering stability, which is good. But that recovering stability energy comes when somebody takes a sip of what their heart truly wants. Otherwise, somebody's going to always feel like they're energetically left out in the cold. So I'm going to see what my little Rose wants here. Let me pause you because she keeps licking my hand. Hold on. When I'm looking at this card as well, it almost looks like, I mean, this could be outside circumstances that just suck. But I feel like the cleanup could have happened sooner. And I feel like for some of you, this could have been somebody self-sabotaging their own dream come true. And almost making the situation harder than it needed to be. Hold on one sec. Let's clarify with one more from the same tarot. I feel like it's so hot out here. I feel like I'm melting. I want to go in the creek, but I'm not going to do that at night. So what is a clarifying card? A clarifying energy of the Five of Coins. It says somebody, the Five of Coins is either somebody going through a situation to learn how to get out of it, to learn how to bring back stability, or it's somebody that does have lack mentality overall. They never have enough. It's never, you know, the energy of peace and luxury. It's always where there's something wrong or there's something more they need. What? I just heard all you need is inside of you. the Knight of Coins, the Eight of Coins. So somebody is learning that maybe a certain partnership or you are worth the effort. Maybe somebody is passing this torch of spirit to you. Maybe you passed that torch to someone, but they had to learn to run on their own. This is usually where somebody puts in some effort in the beginning, and it might be a little hard to get something cleaned up, but it's worth it in the long run. It's worth it. This is somebody now following their heart. This is somebody who is, I don't know, it's kind of a romantic energy, but it's somebody that wants to be in the experience of romance, of love. I like how there's fire, even though it's a coin energy here. It's like the apprentice energy. Sometimes it's going back to the drawing board, just starting over, going back to school, you know, starting a project. And the more you do something, the more effort is put into a partnership or a romance or cleaning something up, the better you get. You know, the more something flows. Here, it's seeing if you're putting enough effort into maybe a certain person or too much effort somewhere in your life, enough effort in your projects. But I feel like this is somebody recognizing they need to put some tangible physical effort, some time into you, into a partnership in order for that spiritual fire to stay lit. Maybe this is also somebody that recognizes that there can be a back and forth energy, because sometimes this is teacher, student, but sometimes it's the student that really has introspection to change the guidelines that the teacher was going by. All these cards, it's so hot here, all these cards are sticking to me. It's acquiring expertise. It's feeling okay with not having everything all put together and starting anew if you have to. Because the more you put energy into a person or a place or a project, the better you're going to get. You know, the more creative you're going to get, the easier something is. So it's learning how to work smarter, not necessarily harder, because, you know, the better you get at something, the more easy it flows. You don't have to be so consumed on time to pick every little detail apart like you might have to in the beginning. And then the better you get, the almost less energy you need to put in, because the more creativity starts to enter. Upside down, it is problematic perfectionism. I saw the perfection. You know, you can't always be perfect. Sometimes you just have to accept that maybe you're not put together, but I feel like if this person is not so put together, you kind of don't care. I feel like you kind of love someone the big old mess they are. What is that? There's like a beautiful mess. What a beautiful mess this is. That Jason Mraz song is so beautiful. Flowing attraction, and upside down, it's interrupted appeal. You know, it's where maybe something was surface level appealing, and then it's like, yeah, maybe that person doesn't have, you know, quite the personality you connect to. Maybe they had a couple funny one-liners the first few dates, but then it kind of got, it's not so funny if you tell the same joke again and again. So upright, this is somebody who keeps diving into new experiences to keep things fresh and exciting, to keep that love blossoming and putting energy into. I feel like this is somebody who wants to date. Wants to date you, or wants to go back at least to that energy of courtship. Doesn't matter how long you've been with somebody. You should never stop dating. You should always keep them guessing. You should always try to keep that, you know, put the effort in and keep that love alive, because sometimes there is a plateau. So, you know, if something's plateaued, sometimes it's just giving somebody grace. If, you know, they're exhausted and they can't do it, it's all right, another time. But I do feel like there is that revamping kind of energy where, okay, you ready? You've been on the couch a little while. Got something new planned. We're going to do something different today. Are you ready? Let's go. And it's that person that's able to come back in and make something feel more alive again. You know, life, if you've been with a person a long time, there are going to be many different chapters, but there's always a way to get back to that falling in love again. It's also somebody that's coming in on a motorcycle. So I do feel like this is somebody that's going to be heard. I don't know why there's also the bottle of water. That's a cup. There's also something, maybe you have all that energy of maybe somebody not thinking clearly. So maybe it has to do with drinking more water, staying hydrated. This is quite a big reading. But I did bring something I do want to end on because I feel like this will sum everything up. I'm going to get an archetype. So for most of you, this will be your person. If some of you feel like this is now your reading and this is helpful for you, then this could be your archetype. So I did bring the book, right? Yeah, I did. So let's see what your overall archetype is. The river, where I wish I was right now because it's so hot. It's also going with the flow. It also looks like there was a horse. Breaking out, breaking free. Look at how clear the reflection is here and how it's kind of distorted here, but I do feel like it's that river of life energy, just letting something flow. You know, sometimes you're going to go over a waterfall and sometimes you might hit a low, but I also feel like maybe you're going across something here. I feel like maybe there is a bridge. Maybe it's not going across a bridge. Maybe you get yourself a horse or you just swim across. You're like, why am I looking for a bridge when I can just dive on in and swim across? Maybe that's much easier. So Roman numerals, bear with me, I'm going to find it. It's also interesting how the reflection is like bass backwards. It's upside down. So maybe somebody was seeing something through an upside down perspective. The river, it's funny, I just talked about being at the creek. It's so hot today. The river is the stream, the flow, the current. So there's a reason so many rituals of change and wait, where is it? And rebirth. Take place in the river. It is forgiveness embodied in physical form. I just thought of something. If some of you do have running water, not like your faucet, maybe the toilet for some of you, but like if you do have a stream or something like that, and there's something that is holding you back, or even if it's a wish, it could be anything. You can go either way for this, but I do feel like it's a cleanse. I feel like you should maybe, if you don't want to write it down and have your wish actually be on words going down the river, maybe I see a leaf or maybe a flower, something that's going to float, and put your intentions on that for, you know, your wish to come true or healing to go out there for someone. I'm getting like an answered prayer for something to be answered or a solution to come or something that even you need to let go of, and just say thank you. I'm going to release this now. And whether that's forgiving someone else, forgiving yourself, you actually doing that process, because it says something about a ritual here. To do that is going to actually make you feel lighter instantly. And just let it go. Whether that's, you know, something amazing you want to come back, you've now given it to the universe, given it to God. And then, you know, it's going to also start to offer you some, I'm getting synchronistic opportunities on next steps you get to make, because you have to meet that wish halfway. And if it's something that you just needed to release, maybe that is such a healthy release. It's an instant, you know, refreshing of the energy that was constraining you or holding you back or making you feel stuck. And it just feels good to do that tiny little sweet ritual, you know, with the best, purest intentions. I kind of see somebody doing that. So that was, hold on, hopefully she won't. All right, so it is forgiveness embodied in the physical form without asking anything in return. The river washes away what is no longer necessary, smoothing over sharp edges and accepting all of our mistakes and grievances. Once we step in, we are no longer in control. The river carries us farther down the stream of transformation. than we planned to go. Its waters have a special gift for reflecting back to us a new and dreamlike vision. Once the tears have passed, we see ourselves as we haven't before, with a little more lightness, grace, and fluidity. Keep in mind that keep in mind the you that stands within the river is the real you, full of deep emotion and potential, nothing to hide. I saw all that transparency at the beginning. You know, maybe somebody tried to be that rock in the river, but its edges needed to be softened. But that also takes time. Full of deep emotion and potential, nothing to hide, nothing to judge. May you drink in the sight of your true self. When it's light, it's acceptance, grace, reflection, forgiveness. If it's dark, it's torment of emotions, flooding, and feeling overwhelmed. A lot of times the torment of emotions or keeping something under the surface is because somebody's trying to keep a control of how they feel. But often if it involves love, it's not about having control over that. It's letting it flow, let it come out, let it wash over you. Go deeper, Barry Lopez's River Notes, Romy Horn's Still Water. You can only resist the river for so true. The river calls me all the time. You can only resist the river for so long. Eventually, it will pull you towards change. So, you may as well get in with style and grace. Oh, I like this message. It's like a segue to probably tomorrow's reading where maybe I will be in the river, maybe not. I never quite know. It depends on the weather. The river is emotion. When you are in its current, you will know it by the bursting forth of tears, laughter, song, despair, all of it. All of the emotions flow in its current. That's also the 10 of Cups. That's what I was saying before. It's not just about it always being happy or always being in love. It's all of that, you know? So with this, I bid you adieu. And I hope something came through that was helpful for you. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm going to take Rose inside and sit in front of my fan. I love you so much. And I'll see you soon. Bye.